everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Laurie. Today we're talking all about embroidery leather and clasp purses. To start with, we do have a collection of different clasp purses, and you may have seen them in different locations. So our very first one that we're going to show right here are these two right here, and they are the Jump Stitch Summer Scoops, and those are available on our website. The second one I wanted to show you is this really cute one right here, and this is our Sweet Talk clasp purse, and this one is actually in our Bella box. And we do have a few limited numbers, but we do have some Bella boxes left, so if you really like that design, you're going to want to get that. Well, if you like both of those designs, as well as this darling one, which is the Bridget's Bee, Let It Be, you can find more of the designs for clasp purses right here, and it's available in one of our Kimberbell products, which is called our Keepsake Clasp Purses right here. So this has several more designs. So if you like these, you're gonna love these. All right, so to start with, we wanna talk a little bit about how the leather embroiders, and it really does very, very well. As you can see, there's stitching on all of these. Now this one right here is all stitched. There is no applique right here. It is all stitched out. And so look how beautiful that turned out. And this is great because you can even see the fine stitching right there, Let It Be. And this is just, this is one of my favorite ones that we have. I really like that. And this is done on our Robin Egg Blue. As you notice, this is a new color of leather that we have, the embroidery leather. So as you can see over here, we also have our other leather colors. There's cherry red, gold, silver, rose gold, our seafoam green, and then this is our new ones, French pink, as well as Robin Egg Blue. And these are going to be available very soon. So today also I want to talk a little bit about how you would stitch, some tips on stitching on embroidery leather. So one of the biggest things that I think is most important, slow your machine down. And the second thing would be use a small needle. A 7511 needle is perfect. I wouldn't go larger. Top stitch needles that are 7511 are really good, as well as your embroidery needles. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is when I'm making the purse, I don't add any batting because the leather's already a nice texture to it, and it holds up really well to the purse as well. So you don't need to add batting inside of this as well. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about glue, because when you glue your clasp on to your purse, we want to make sure that it holds really well to the leather as well as the fabric. So I went about finding several different glues, and I tried all of them. This first one is the regular craft glue that we've recommended it before. It worked really, really good. And I do want to show you there's 5 stripes of glue on both of these pieces of leather, and they correspond with all 5 of these glues up here. So this one is just a regular craft glue. It's an all-purpose craft glue, permanent. Make sure it's permanent. The second one is a very similar one. It's just a fast grab and a fast dry. So these two are very similar. Now these 3 that I just mentioned, they're the first 3, whoops, and they are all white. They do come out white, and they dry clear. This one was a leather glue that I wanted to try, and it does come out clear, and it dries clear, and that's this one right here. But you can kind of see a little bit of a difference. These are a little more whitish clear, and this is very, very clear. You can see the difference on this gold leather. And the very end one here, which is almost, you can't hardly see that one, that is this one that's called Fabric Fusion. And I found this and I loved it. It really dries very, very well. And it worked just as good as this first craft glue. So all of these are permanent glues, and as you can see, they kind of dry slightly differently. Today I'm going to be working with this blue, and here's the other reason I like this one. The applicator tip was very easy for me to be able to access inside the groove of the clasp. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. But by all means, you can use all of them, but this is my favorite one simply because of the application as well as it comes out clear. All right, so to start with, I take my design, and I've already got it sewn together. So now we're just adding the clasp. So the first thing I like to do is I start with my design facing down. And then the next thing I do is I make sure that when I open my clasp that I can just slide this in and it's going to fit. Now, if you already know that there's going to be a problem with it fitting, let's take care of that problem now before you try to mess with the glue, because we don't want to smear glue all over the top of this. And as you can see, it does fit in nicely and I know it's going to work. So what I'm going to do is set this up for me. So the first thing I do is, because this leather is stiff like that, it flips back and it won't stay out of the way. So I want this to stay out of the way. So I take a piece of Kimberbell paper tape and I just simply tack it down with that. The reason I don't iron it down is because I don't want a permanent crease left in my, my clasp purse when I'm finished. So I'm going to tape that out of the way, and I like to hold this up to about a 90-degree angle. And then I'm going to be sliding this in and adding my purse, the front of the purse, to that. So now that I've got a hold of that side, I pick it up and I'm holding it this way, and this is where I add the glue. Now when I add the glue, I like to do so in dots. I don't put a solid line of glue because then there's too much glue. And I don't want the glue coming out the back side or the front side of my clasp. I want it to stay right there inside the clasp. So you can see those are the dots of glue, and can you see how easy that glue was to use? And I think it's because I don't know why, I just like it. All right, so then I'm going to lay this back down and I'm going to slide my purse, the top of that clasp purse, right in the groove. And after I've got that in the groove, I'm going to let this set for just a second, and I'm going to get my paper cording. Now I do want to mention the paper cording comes in the clasp package. It's inside the cardboard part of that packaging. So as you can see, I'm using the rectangle. There are different shapes. There's a crescent, and there's large, and there's small. So there's 4 different choices. I take the cording out, and I like to clip my cording about 1/4 of an inch, because when I'm putting my cording inside with that fabric, I don't want to see it poke out on either side at all. So I've measured this, and I know that I already want to take off about 1/4 of an inch. So I just take that right off, right to start with. Then I'm going to fold my cording in half, find the middle, and then I'm going to put the middle right in the middle of my purse down here, and then I'm going to tuck this in. Now as you can see, I'm using this window that I can put my screwdriver right here through, the flathead screwdriver, and I'm going to push it all the way in. And I'm holding it down as I push it in. And get it in all the way here. And the reason you add the cording is it really helps secure that fabric in the clasp itself. Now once I've got one side done like that, I'm going to take my batting and move this as minimally as possible because of the glue, and it's very delicate. All right, and then I'm going to pinch this, and I like to crimp it, and then I'm going to crimp it a little bit higher. I like to make sure I get this in so that I crimp it just a little bit higher. So now that is secure. Now I can continue to push the cording in all the rest of the way across, and I do the same thing once I get to the other side, is I'll crimp it in. And rather than putting all of the cording in and then crimping both sides, I like to hold it in, because if you ever played Make the Bed and you pull the covers back and forth trying to make them even, I just find that if I secure the one side, once I know it's in, then I don't have to do that, and it stays, and then I can make it even on both sides. All right, and so there's the second side. I'm going to crimp that. And when you crimp it, you don't have to squeeze it so much that you have indentations. We don't want indentations. And then I like to flip it over and check and make sure there's no glue that came out. If there is, immediately get a wet cloth and get rid of that glue. But as you can see, there's no glue that goes out here because we didn't overdo it with the glue. Now, I avoided the hole that's, this is a little ring, if you will, that's punched out, but there is a hole underneath it where the glue can come out. So I avoided putting glue in that location because I want to be able to use this as a place where I can grab, you can see there's one on either side, for a strap or for a ribbon or for a strap of any kind. You can do a cute little metal chain, you can use a ribbon, anything that you can think of. You could even make a loop. That would be really, really cute. So that's how you do the one side. Now make sure you let this dry for 15 minutes. So I would just let that dry for a full 15 minutes, and then I would come back to do the other side. And I'm gonna pretend it's been 15 minutes and hope it doesn't come out, right? So as you can see, when you're going to do the second side, right there, I don't have a window. I've lost my window. Can you see that? So if I pull this up, there's no window. So what I like to do is first make sure it's gonna fit, all right? And then the second thing I do is you can actually push this down in and you hold it just like this, and then it's easy to add your glue right here. And I would just add my glue pieces right there. Can you see how easy that is to get at that without getting glue on anything else? And then I simply tuck this in, and when I get to that point, that's when I turn this over. And then you don't want to pull this way up back, because the further back you pull that, it's going to pull your other side back out, and then you're trying to push it back in, and pretty soon you have glue smearing. So we don't want to do that. Just slightly open it, and you're going to do the very same thing. You're going to find the middle of your cord, and you're going to put your middle of your cord down here, and you're going to come at an angle. So I like to come at this angle and push, and I'm going to be gentle because my glue is not dried up at the top yet. And then you would come at the other angle and push that in and crimp it as well. And
do you ever push it from the leather side, or do you always push it from the inside?
Thank you. Great question. Great question. Never push it from the leather side. I always push it from the fabric side. The reason for that is these have got sharp corners on them, and I don't want to damage my leather and have little marks on my leather up here. So make sure that when you push that in, it's always from the inside where the fabric is. All right. I don't think we have any other questions. So if you do have any questions, please let us know. Otherwise, please enjoy, and don't forget to get your clasp purses from your shop or the Bella box if you are wanting to do that as well. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.